Hey everybody, welcome back to Fun Zone. My name is Nordista Freeze. I am your host. Happy New Year. This is my first episode since I got my laptop back. My laptop fell and shattered into a million dreams and pieces. And thanks to y'all, literally, crowdfunded, people Venmoed me, and I was able to get my laptop back, and now I can keep doing this. Keep doing what I love. So, I mean, that was just the sweetest thing. Thank you so much. Also, we've now launched the Patreon officially. We have the Discord community is live. Got the first 3 people in there right now. So shout out to Lancaster, to Olivia, and to Owen in the Discord Patreon group. We are having a lot of fun, and yeah, so it's great to be back, and support in any way you can. If you enjoy Fun Zone, this is on YouTube. It's also on anywhere you can find audio podcasts. So wherever you listen or wherever you don't, if you want to support, you can always subscribe on YouTube, even if you listen on Spotify or whatever. Show some love, y'all. All right. Anyway, the artist we have tonight is from Charleston. It's a good friend of mine from the band Crybaby. Now doing solo music as well under the name Kid Lake. My friend Carter Long is going to swing by. So without further ado, let's welcome him in. What's up, dude?
Dude, nothing much. I've been working and hanging out. Yeah.
Welcome to the Fun Zone, man. It's an honor to have you. Right off the bat, congrats on your newest single. Now I Can't Remember. Just came out, what, like 2 weeks ago? January 8th.
Yeah, I think January 8th. Yeah.
Dude, congrats on the new song. It's very beautiful.
Thank you.
I want to talk about we can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but I want to talk about the whole project, Kid Lake. It's a semi-recent project. I'm just wondering what inspired that. Obviously, I've known you from Crybaby from before this, but I don't know much about your musical history beyond that. Making music. So
well, I have been doing solo stuff longer than I've been doing Crybaby stuff, but not in terms of like performing or anything. So I was just like recording a lot of solo demos like in high school and stuff when I'm was kind of first like becoming really in love with music and recording and really getting into like the timbre of sounds and how very specific instruments sound and stuff like that, and more so than I was even like into like songs or melodies or anything like that, more about the way things sound. And so I was experimenting with like recording a lot, and I played guitar a little bit and sang since like I've been like singing and playing guitar since like middle school, but just kind of like strumming chords and stuff. Yeah. And I don't know, Kid Lake, I came from, I guess it was in 2019. I had a goal of I wanted to put out an album in 2019 of solo stuff. And that was like my goal at the beginning of the year, which didn't happen. That was one of the goals. But anyway, I ended up starting Kid Lake in 2019 and recording some songs and playing more shows than I did like recording stuff. So I did some live stuff for the first time, which was super exciting.
Really? In Charleston?
Yeah, just DIY shows in Charleston. Well, my first show I did was with this band, Daddy and the Long Legs. I don't know if you know them.
Whoa, that sounds really familiar. I've definitely heard that name.
Yeah, they're like an emo band, and I was like really into emo music at the time and like was super into them. But they were coming down to Charleston to play a show, but I ended up going to like Durham or something the day before and played a show with them, and that was my first show ever, solo show. And I just went up by myself and played like a few like covers and a few originals and got paid like $20 and some pizza.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
Were you pretty nervous being up there?
So nervous. Yeah,
I can imagine. That's crazy. Being in Durham, then, or did they like? Was there a lot of people there? What was it like? Or was it more of a DIY thing?
No, it was so weird. It was at this like new like Christian coffee shop in town or whatever. And like people there did not know that there was like gonna be like a show or anything. I don't think. But there was probably like 25 people there, and they were like listening. Dude, the funniest part of that show is I played this Mountain Goats song called the best ever death metal band out of Denton or something.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
And it says Hail Satan in it.
Yes. And it says Hail Satan at the end. And I played it was so funny. Like I was just gonna do it without like talking about it, but I kind of like I like warned them a little bit of what was to come, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean this. Also, the guy who wrote this song is Catholic, I think. So
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I think that what's his name? The Mountain Goats guy. I can never remember his name. But
I can't think.
I was thinking like he's a religious dude. He's a really, really interesting guy. I saw them play once, and man, it was a really captivating show. And afterwards, he just like stood there and met everybody. It was so cool.
Dude, yeah, I love the Mountain Goats. Yeah, I mean, I was inspired in terms of like Kid Lake stuff. I was inspired by some stuff like that, like really lo-fi, like his album that he recorded like on a boombox mic.
That's right. Yeah.
Like I love that stuff. Got really into that, and then was also into sort of this like mix of hi-fi sounds and lo-fi sounds in people like Florist or Lamelda, like.
Cool. Yeah.
Those are like my favorite bands. And I think that really inspired me to start Kid Lake. And, you know, I have a hard time like writing a ton of songs. But I have all these songs that I've written, but I never end up finishing them. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I need to just like record all the stuff I've worked on. But yeah, that's what it came out of, just wanting to like explore sound and kind of, I don't know, put my voice out into the world and see if anyone cared or
yeah, totally. Dude,
see if I can make a difference with it, I guess, as well.
I mean, it's like, obviously it's like a totally different sound than the stuff you're making with Crybaby. It's probably refreshing to be doing something so like just like emotional, and so I don't know, they're just very, very different genres and feels, and I feel like there's like would be a nice release that you could do from making the type of music you're making.
Totally. Yeah, I think like I almost think about them as like, it's so like music is such an encapsulating term that it feels like those are two completely different worlds, but they still like are under this music umbrella, and that's such a beautiful thing. But yeah, like playing guitar in Crybaby versus like writing a Kid Lake song or performing a Kid Lake song feels like two completely different like things to me. But
yeah, right.
And I think I get more of a release from the Crybaby side of things, just like having fun, like playing music, because it's just so fun and like high energy and not, you know, it's emotional in a way, but it's not so like pulling at your heartstrings. It's kind of, it's more uplifting just from the act of like this kind of collective enjoyment, especially when we play shows. Like it's just so fun, and that's a big release. Yeah,
it's almost like two different types of release. Like there's one feeling you get when you write like how you're feeling, and you know, very introspective. There's also something to be said about just like having a good time and going on tour and like being on stage, and just that, I mean, that definitely is an amazing release. I'm always trying to do both of those things, and it is hard under one project, you know, making like music that makes people want to like mosh or like dance, but then also like being able to like express yourself and in like the most sincere way. It's like it's hard to accomplish both. So it's cool that you have like two different projects you can.
Yeah, and they're like polar. They're on the like total opposite ends of the spectrum, kind of. Like Kid Lake is super introspective, and Crybaby is in some way like, you know, we deal with emotional things totally, but and that is fun. Like, you know, me, Jamie, and Joey usually write the lyrics of the songs together and stuff, and all the melodies. And it is totally different than writing a Kid Lake song, because I feel like for once, I'm not thinking about like personal experiences or anything really. I'm just trying to like come up with like a compelling story and like catchy hooks and stuff. So it's just weird, like, to think about the different forms of expression that you can do within music, and have like, I have all these different facets of my musicking that I do that are really all disconnected.
Yeah, right. It's funny, Crybaby being a part of like a Charleston scene makes a lot of sense. Every time I'm in Charleston, there's always like parties going on, and there's definitely a big culture of people wanting to have fun. Whereas the Kid Lake music, honestly, it reminds me a little bit more of the music that I hear in the upstate scene, like some of the bands I know out of like Clemson and Greenville, like Fleur Girl and like Apricot Blush and J.S. Terry, all those people who make really, really beautiful music up there. Have you ever had a chance to like play up there? Or I guess, when did you start releasing music? Has it been all during COVID?
Well, no, so I'm from upstate South Carolina.
No way. I didn't know that.
I'm from Anderson, and I knew of those guys in Clemson like when I was living there, but never made it to like a Pablo show when I was in high school or anything, even though I knew about it. And I knew of like Daddy's Beamer and stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like looked up to those guys, but I had my friends are in this band called Curfew. They're like my best friends in the world, and they're from Anderson, and they make just like like dream pop kind of stuff, but it's just like super well produced and like beautiful stuff. And it's just my two best friends.
Wow.
And I
gotta check that out.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out. It's CURFUE, Curfew. What was the question you asked me? Or you said something about the upstate.
I was just commenting out. I mean, I'm sure that your project is well received in Charleston as well, but I was just saying it's reminiscent of some of those projects in state, but just a part of that culture that I've really come to know of, like upstate South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I was getting to. So I'm from there. I think, there must be something in the water up there of just like, I guess it's just like suburban life in the South. And I don't know, there's something, I think part of it is like being not like a conservative in the South. and kind of, so maybe feeling like your voice isn't represented a lot, like around like the people you're around, and maybe people don't see the same kind of problems in society that you see. And so maybe there's like a need to get out that kind of suppressed feelings in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
no, it does. Yeah.
There's a common thread there for sure.
There really is, man. I mean, my whole experience in the last couple of years, like growing to know like more of like both the Carolinas, like touring there more, and like realizing just how many like cool like different towns and cities there are with cool music culture. It's like pretty phenomenal. And it's cool, like, I mean, y'all included, like just so many interesting people and bands that I've been able to witness and just be excited about. It's pretty cool community that you're a part of.
Yeah, man, it is great. I take it for granted sometimes, but yeah, I mean, I just want to shout out Paper Daisies for a second. That's my favorite project in South Carolina, probably. We were talking about the Clemson guys, Taylor, Paper Daisies, and Wallpaper, his old project.
Mm-hmm.
Just phenomenal stuff. Like I aspire to make that stuff.
It really is. I was like I was trying to book a show in Asheville, and I was going through Fleetwood's like past shows, and I just came across like organically Wallpaper. I think he was playing a show with like Dinner Time, and I clicked on his Bandcamp link and heard that first song, and it just like was one of the most just like emotionally just like first second of a song, like that never happens. It's just amazing how captivating it was. And Taylor's amazing. I was trying to get Wallpaper to play Freeze Fest 5, which y'all played, and it was like right in transition when that project was over, but Paper Daisies hadn't started. So I hope to get to hear that project live someday.
Man, yeah, it's Yeah, I was so sad when like when I heard Wallpaper was over, but the Paper Daisies to me is even better in some ways. It's so, that album he put out is just amazing. It's probably my favorite thing that I've like listened to in 2020.
Wow.
It gave me so much comfort throughout the year, I feel like.
Yeah, right. Have you, whenever like the time comes, would you be interested in taking like this project on the road and like playing with people like that, or is it something more just for the recording side of things, like and Crybaby more a project that you would want to tour on as much as you can?
Yeah, I really enjoy playing Kid Lake shows. Like it is super fulfilling. I would love to tour with it. I would like to probably put a band together to do it and not do it solo.
Yeah.
Just to get more of the sound of the recordings. Even though, I mean, they are pretty, like, it would be a weird band, I'm sure. It'd probably be like some atmospheric stuff or,
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be very fun, even if it was just like 2 or 3 of us out. There was one time I played Kid Lake with like a full band, and it was awesome. It was at Royal American.
Whoa, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was so fun.
Man, I bet that sounds incredible. Y'all have your foot in the door at Royal American. Y'all always playing crazy shows. That's cool that you're able to do that. That's awesome. That's like my favorite venue ever.
It's the best spot. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's such a shame that we can't play right now.
I know, man.
I miss it.
I've actually got a hold for Royal American in May, and like it's a hold because it probably won't happen, but like
right,
they're just like, I'm just hoping, like I've been in touch with them specifically, and we're trying to come back as soon as possible because I miss Charleston so much. I actually just went to had to go to the car repair place finally today to get my van fixed. I've been driving my parents' minivan instead of mine because I hit 2 deer on the way to Charleston when I was coming down to visit for Halloween.
At the same time, or
like 30 minutes apart from each other. It was like I came down and I came down super late, so it was like 1 a.m. and I was just going down all those like crazy. I mean, it's not even like an interstate to get from Nashville to Charleston. There's just like highways, and there was a full moon. There was just so many deer everywhere. I had no idea that was like a part of South Carolina.
Dude, yeah, there's deer everywhere.
I got destroyed.
One ran into the side of my car one time.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It like right at the driver's side door dented it in.
Man, that's pretty much exactly what happened to me too. I can't get out of my driver door either. Do you like being in Charleston? Like, do you feel like you're gonna stay there for a while? Would you ever want to live somewhere else?
Man, yeah, I would love to live somewhere else. I mean, I like Charleston a lot. It is hard to like even put it in perspective because during the pandemic, it's been so different. Like I've been just home most of the time and at work. And so right now I don't love it. Like it feels like maybe not the best place, but nowhere is the best place to be right now, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. We've been like as Crybaby have been kind of talking about like maybe moving one day.
Like as the whole band, like getting up and just moving somewhere.
Yeah, like none of us have like nothing too serious holding us back here, I feel like. But I don't know if that'll ever happen, but yeah, I mean, I would be down to go to Texas or New York or Nashville or
yeah. I could see y'all being in like Chicago or New York.
Chicago would be really fun. Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Just be a party band in Chicago.
Yeah, dude. Joey is like in like Tulsa or something right now. He's every time I get on Instagram, I'm like, man, he's further away from home. He might not ever come back.
Yeah. Our friend Connor is moving to what state is it?
Oklahoma?
No, somewhere out there.
Yeah, whatever. One of those.
Colorado. I couldn't think of it.
That's like the obvious one. That's the one where people like to move to.
I know.
Dude, Big Smile just moved to Colorado. He's like living out of his car in Colorado.
No way.
Yeah. he was like, hit me up if there's ever a tour again. I'm gonna go to Colorado. So like,
I miss him.
Hopefully,
Holy
if there's
crap.
touring, he'll come back. But for now, like, he's like, what am I doing? I'm just like working this stupid job. I'm just gonna get out of here. So that's cool.
That's great.
Yeah,
he's
I'm
just
envious.
hanging out. Maybe him and Connor can hang out.
Yeah, for real.
In Smaw's car.
Yeah. Are you or were you ever living at that house with like Meg and Mia?
Yeah. I used to live with Meg and Mia, like downtown Charleston.
Yeah.
And then we all moved out to North Charleston where we are now. Like I'm in my little music studio in my house in North Charleston.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, me and Jamie and I don't know if you know Jordan live in here. And then there's a house like right out back that Mia and her friend Georgette live in. Oh, and so Meg was living with us, but she just moved to Atlanta.
Whoa, no way.
You didn't know that?
Someone had told me that she had moved or something, but she moved to Atlanta. That's interesting. Cool. Yeah. Just to do it, I gotta hit her up on this. This is crazy. Yeah,
you gotta hit her up.
Wow, I'll have to have her on the show, man. That's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk. I'm curious about, so with your you got 3 singles out so far. I was wondering, like, one thing I wanted to ask you was like if there's like a bigger project coming, like, or is it just more like you take it track by track, or are you working towards some sort of bigger release?
So, okay. So the problem is I don't have like a very consistent way to record stuff. I'm getting better at doing stuff myself. And so like the last song and the first song that I put out were like, I recorded all by myself. And then the WTF song I recorded with like Wesley and Dan from Daddy's Beamer.
Cool. Really?
Yeah. That's awesome. So like Dan's playing strings and drums and keys on that. Wesley played bass and like mixed it and everything. And that was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. But I also like enjoy having like full control over everything too. Right. And so I want to, I mean, in a way, like the last song I put out, now I can't remember, like made me feel good about like, cause it's very like simplistic in terms of the orchestration and everything is like, it's pretty bare bones, but I really like the way that feels like kind of like you're just like floating in some space that doesn't really have that much to ground you. And so I don't know, long story short, I want to start, feeling more confident about doing all this stuff on my own and not worry too much about like intricate details. But I'm so much of a perfectionist that I always just like end up not liking a lot of the stuff that I make, even though like I like the song and then I'll hate like the recording of it, even though it's just over some minor details. And then I don't end up finishing things. I need to get way better at like working on stuff, but also like realizing that I just enjoy music for doing it. And so even if I'm not getting all this stuff out, or if it's not perfect or whatever, that stuff doesn't really matter because like I'm just doing what I love. And it doesn't, like I do so much stuff that I'm not going to use for anything. Like I make all this like ambient music with synthesizers and I'm trying to learn like, trying to get better at like jazz guitar and like learn standards and stuff, like, cause that's just so fun. And like, I've been really getting into listening to like solo jazz guitarists and trying to play that chord melody stuff, like just play everything yourself. And I don't know if I'll use that in my music that much. Like I've used some of the like synthesizer stuff, but it's still, I don't know. I'm just trying to, when in a time where I haven't written that many songs, I'm just trying to explore music in all of its facets and enjoy it for what it is and not try and like make all these goals that I have to complete, because I don't know, sometimes that feels a little icky.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it makes me feel bad.
Yeah. And I've noticed a lot of times, like I'm so much harder on myself than on my friends. Like when it comes to like releasing music, like
totally.
Like I'll be like, oh man, like I haven't put out a song in 2 months. People are probably like, think I'm just like sleeping. And then I'm like, I look at like one of my close friends and, they haven't put out a song in like a year. I'm like, well, that was a year ago. Like, I still feel like they're like at a healthy pace putting out new music. But when it comes to myself, I'm like hypercritical. But ultimately there's so much music and so much stuff happening. It's like, I don't know, there's no real time to like, especially with COVID, but like anytime you can, even if you put out one song every year, people would be like, sweet, like we still are excited about this. Like I don't think, you know what I mean? It's just whatever you want to do, I think that now more than ever in the internet age, we can just have whatever relationship we want with the music.
Yeah and I think like I'm still really young, and like I'm still learning so much about music that I'll be able to use in recordings and in writing further down the road. And so I think putting my attention towards that stuff and trying not to get too stressed about releasing stuff and making everything perfect, I think will help me in the long run. I hope so, because totally. But then at the same time, like in high school, I was putting out all this stuff on like SoundCloud and Bandcamp because I was really inspired by like people who were doing that and putting out like like Frankie Cosmos used to just put out like an EP like every week or whatever, and she has like all this stuff on Bandcamp. And I just remember being like, and it's all like just lo-fi, like just like demos, and I'm just like, that's the way to do it, just like put all this stuff out. But then the inner voice in my head is just like, no, it's got to be perfect, and I care about all the little details too. So I don't know, there's like a duel in my head of conflicting ideas, but at the end of the day, I just want to enjoy music and not get too stressed.
That's interesting. I actually, like, a lot of what you're saying reminds me of myself. Like I started when I was making music in like middle school, I didn't know how to play guitar. At first I just had like a little synth and like a mic, and I could like loop stuff, and like I had this like chaos pad thing. I was like putting my voice through effects and stuff. And I was more interested in like the recordings. I didn't know how to like perform or anything. I was just making weird stuff and making lo-fi stuff, not even lo-fi on purpose. Just
right.
I mean, I did like lo-fi music, so I guess like I can make this kind of music. But yeah, I was putting stuff on Bandcamp all the time, and all the artists I liked were like really prolific. And it's been ever since I got like really to college and beyond where I like really started slowing down, like when I was touring more, but also by touring more, building a bigger fan base, which kind of made me like maybe more like self-conscious, or I don't know, like, I also have a hard time like getting songs all the way done. Even like songwriting wise, I'll get them like, I can't finish them, and then I record them and I can't put the final touches on the recording either. It's like, there's this wall that's just always like, oh, you can confront that later. You should just make another demo today, and I'll just keep making stuff and never like can push it to its like final like mixing and mastering phase.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I definitely relate to that. Yeah, and the last song I put out, like I didn't want to deal with sending it off to get mastered or whatever, so I just tried to do mastering myself as well, so I did that. But yeah, I would like for the process to be very simple and for me to like the end result and to be able to put it out. And so I'm trying to get towards that, where it's just like I can do it quickly, do it all by myself, put it out, and then forget about it. But yeah, to answer your question from earlier, I would like to do a project, but I don't have one like in the works necessarily. I have some stuff that I'm working on, but I would like to do like an EP or an album. Probably I would guess that there will be an EP this year, but that is I'm saying that with nothing done for that EP. So
right, totally. Are you during quarantine, you said you're working too? Are you working?
Yeah.
What do you do right now?
Dude, I actually sew. I make bags at this place called J Stark downtown Charleston.
Dude, really?
Yeah.
That sounds very fun and very cool.
Yeah.
Is it fun and cool?
Yeah, I started sewing in high school and like hemming my own clothes and stuff, and then got a job in Greenville making jeans at this place called Billiam Jeans, and so I was sewing there.
Yeah, Billiam.
Yeah, you know Billiam?
Yeah, I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, I used to work there in high school.
Cool.
And made jeans, and then I moved down here, and there was a place that did the same thing, and so I've been working there. I mean, it's not. It's like it used to be a really big passion of mine. I wanted to be like a fashion designer. And that's still something I'm sort of passionate about. And I'm doing a little bit of design work at J Stark. Like I started prototyping a backpack today. I made dude. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Made the first prototype, but I don't know if anything will come from it, but yeah. So that's fun.
If you ever need any like screen printing stuff too, right? Isn't that what Josh is like making? He's working in clothing too. He's doing like printing.
Yeah,
you could always like team up with him in some cool way. You've always had great style. That is cool. That I didn't know that you were like involved in that sense. That still would be really cool. And you could like even combining that with the music, like some sort of crossover. That.
Yeah, I mean, my Kid Lake merch is pretty good. I have a few shirts left. If anyone is watching this and wants one, let me know. But
whoa, no way! How do they just contact you on Instagram?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's cool. Let's see. Let's drop your handle in case anybody's listening right now. Kid Lake Band.
Yeah, Kid Lake Band.
That's sweet. That's awesome. Wow, I haven't seen these shirts. Let's see. Are they posted on here somewhere?
Yeah, probably early down. I have like 5 left, I think, somewhere.
And you made these?
I didn't make. Well, I made the design, like I drew it, but then my friend Matt Massara, Broccoli Boy on Instagram, screen printed it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, cool. This is awesome. Oh, you've also got some gigs in your. Oh, Daddy in the Long Legs with Kid Lake.
Yeah.
There it is. Dude, that's awesome. Very cool, man. So you're doing that and also just like living in Charleston, making music. Anything else you've been up to?
Well, yeah, and Jamie, my girlfriend, who's a singer of Crybaby as well.
Yes.
She is an amazing songwriter and has solo stuff that is just absolutely beautiful. And I have been helping her record stuff. And so cool. If I do have a project coming out that I've worked on, which is Jamie's stuff, she is going to have like a 3-song EP that we did together coming out, I think in like February or March.
Wow. So what is your role on that project?
I like mixing and producing and stuff. Yeah.
No way. That's cool.
But playing some instruments and stuff.
Yeah.
It's similar like production vibe to Kid Lake stuff. But tailored to her music a little more. So
right. Yeah. That must be really exciting. I've never done that on a project. So you're the one like recording it and like mixing it and making it feel right.
I'm trying to. I mean, and I've taught myself all that stuff. And so I don't know if I'm doing anything correctly, but I try to get it to where like it sounds good to me. So
right.
I've been doing that since I was in high school, but yeah. So just mixing, like playing guitar and putting some synth stuff on there and all that. Yeah. And that is super fun. Singing some harmonies as well. So
whoa. Is this your first time or you said you've been doing this kind of thing since high school? Is this your first like release like as an engineer, or have you been like helping other artists put out projects for a long time?
No, I've never done that. I've wanted to for a long time, but never felt like I was like good enough at it to like offer it to people.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Intimidating. But obviously I trust Jamie's opinion and she likes it. So that's good. That makes me feel good. So
that's so cool.
If it's good enough for her, then that's good enough for me. I think it sounds cool. I just try to make, even if it's not like the best technical mix, there's something interesting about it that is like, going to make the ears perk up. That isn't just like, here's the song and I didn't do anything cool. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally. Dude, that's awesome. Do you remember wait, were you there when y'all convinced me in a minivan that Jamie wrote the song Heart of Glass?
Yes, I remember that. We were coming back from Cookout, I think.
Yeah.
Charleston or something.
Man, that was insane. That was the first time I was like,
oh, this is you? This is crazy. This is awesome.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever. They're like, oh, Jamie makes music. And they're like, you want to hear it? Then I was like, walking on the. And I was like, dude, her voice. Wow. I was like, man, who produced this? this is like kind of Crybaby-esque. I was like, okay, I could see like Joey working on this.
Oh man.
Cool. I got so pumped up. But then actually Jamie's been making music for a long time and then joined Crybaby like a little bit later on. We all had a lineup change up and
oh man. Yes, I need to tell you the story about me joining Crybaby.
Oh, please do. Wait, were you not an original member?
Well, I was an original member, but it was in the transition of, it used to be called Butterfly, basically, which you could say it's kind of the same band because it's like a Joey project, but
right.
He kind of started a new thing. But anyway, I met Joey before I came to college down here, like at a random party that I was like hanging out down here at his house on Halloween. And I was there with my friend Griffin, who's in the band Curfew that I told you about. And we were talking about music and stuff. And, Griffin was telling him about his music and how, telling him all about it. And Joey was like, remembered that. And then whenever I was on, like literally the day I was moving down to Charleston, Joey texted me and was like, hey, you play keys, right? Like you play keyboards. And I kind of lied because I don't really know what I'm doing on a piano at all. I like to mess with sounds, but I was like, yeah, I can like kind of play keys. And he was like, oh, cool. I'm starting this band. Like you have to be in it. And I was, so Joey thought that I was Clark in Griffin's band Curfew. So he had listened to Curfew and been like, oh man, the keys are awesome on this. He thought that it was me playing it.
Oh my gosh. What?
Anyway, so I go so I go to Joey's house to check out the music. This is like my first week of college and I don't even know Joey at all. And he's like showing me the music and is like gonna show me how to play it. And it just like didn't work out because I don't play keys. And then I was like, you know what? We should just like track out the keys. Like I play guitar a little bit. Like I'll play guitar in the band. And so I just like kind of just.
You snuck your way in.
Yeah, I just like finagled my way in. And it was, I also wasn't good at guitar when I joined the band at all. Like, really, honestly, I still am not amazing at all. But
you're a great guitar player. Wait, what? That's crazy. So what? You just.
I appreciate it. But no, I mean, I felt like very nervous and like freaked out, but I wanted to play music like so bad that, and it worked out. And now I feel confident playing all those songs that we started working on back then, but it was so rough at first. And then
that's crazy, dude.
I had a huge crush on Jamie and we lost our vocalist from before. And I was like, we got to get Jamie Gray in the band. And we weren't dating or anything. Like I just literally just had a crush on her. And then, probably like 3 months after she joined the band, we started dating.
Wow.
Beautiful love story. When did we start? I think we started dating on the tour where we went to Chicago and played at Litterbox. With Late Night Laundry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
In May 2019.
Yeah, that's right. That would have been then because I went and played Litterbox like a month after I saw y'all did it. I was like, that looks so sick. That's crazy. Well, I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad you're not like hopelessly in love with Jamie and still, and she's just like rejecting you and the lead singer of your band.
No, it worked out amazingly.
That is a sweet story.
I'm better at guitar. I'm in a band that I love, and I'm with a girl that I love, and it's great. And we get to do it all together.
It's kind of the dream, dude. You told yourself that a couple of years, or even like 2 or 3 years ago, would you have been like, "Oh wow, this is awesome. I'm gonna live in Charleston and be making music in this cool band and be dating this amazing person." Like, I know it doesn't always probably feel great like every day. I know with COVID and stuff, you can get lost in the sauce, but I mean, that's really awesome.
No, it is. It's amazing. I mean, yeah, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, dude, that's cool.
Good situation.
Have you know the band, the Flying Burrito Brothers or like Graham Parsons at all? Or Parsons, I think.
Oh man, I don't think so.
Or what about the band The Birds, like that 60s band? You ever heard of them? It's okay if you haven't.
I've heard of them, but I don't know.
So this is just, I'll keep it brief, but there's this guy, Graham Parsons, who's like in the band. And well, he was in the Flying Burrito Brothers, and he joined the Byrds, doing almost the exact same thing as you. And it's like an iconic rock and roll story where he was like, yeah, I'm a jazz pianist. And he like learned this learned like one or two like standards on the keys. And they were like, oh, he's got to join the band. And then he's like, yeah, I'm actually more of a guitar player. And and so you've probably seen this like iconic, it's called Sweetheart of the Rodeo. They like literally sell like t-shirts with the album cover of it on like at like Urban. But that whole album was like Graham like taking over the band. So he tricked his way into the band, and he actually wanted to become like the lead singer and like writing a lot of the songs, and turned him into like a country band. So that reminded me of your story, just like finagling your way in.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's an iconic story, dude.
Dude, cool. Yeah, it's so funny. It's really funny looking back on that now. Like I literally was like, I had never played guitar like that. Like I still up to that point was just playing like open chords. Like
right.
Like that's all I knew at that point. And then I'm like learning these like riffs and like funk stuff, and my right hand could not do it like at all. Like my rhythm was so rough and everything. Like, oh man, I can't believe I never got kicked out of the band. But
yeah, you made it. You made it. Right now I've seen you play. You're a great guitar player. So you made it to past the point. So
yeah,
they can't kick you out now. You're too good.
No, they can't.
Are you with Crybaby, was that your first time like going on tour, like playing live extensively? Like you said, you played some before that maybe, but was that your first like
big project to tour with? I had played live. I honestly forgot about this. I used to do like student ministry in high school, and I started playing like acoustic guitar at that, like in the mornings on Friday mornings. And then I was playing bass for a little bit.
In like a worship band?
Yeah, in like a worship band.
Cool. That's a good place to learn bass. It's a very accepting crowd and normally pretty easy music.
Yeah, it's very easy music. I was still super nervous.
Right.
But
playing Oceans or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and they'd be like, "Can we like go up a half step? Like, can we transpose it?" And I'm like, "I have no idea."
You're like putting a capo on the bass.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, I don't even know what notes I'm playing right now. Like this is. So, dude, bass, I had no idea what I was doing. Like they just like put me on bass, and
that's so funny.
So funny.
That's cool.
That's cool. I didn't play shows until I was in Crybaby, and I was so nervous at first, like terribly anxious about every show. But
right.
And I'm still, I still get a little nervous. Like we did a live stream the other day, and I was like, whoa, I like feel nervous again. I haven't felt this way.
Right.
Wow. Because it was going to be like recorded and stuff. And I'm like, oh gosh, I can't mess up.
Yeah. It's not even like you can like mess something up, but you look out and everybody in the crowd's just like dancing. You're like, you can just only imagine what the people are looking like watching the live stream, just like skeptically watching it and being like, dude, this guy messed up. He played the wrong note. It actually makes me more nervous to do those kind of things. The like live stream things, because you just have no idea. I don't know. And also sometimes they just sound bad too. It's just like, I don't know. Like you can't really do as many effects and stuff. Or at least as a singer, I'm just singing naked, like into like an iPhone mic or whatever.
Oh, I would love to see you singing naked. And
singing naked. Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe for our next live stream we'll do that. On my OnlyFans concert series that I'm working on.
That'd be great. Yeah, you just wear a Speedo.
Yes, dude.
Something.
Maybe I will. That's a good idea.
Man, I've seen you do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
I've seen you strip down and puke on stage. Me. Everybody's got nipples.
Dude, we kissed at EGN.
We kissed.
That was a sweet moment. And that was like right before I like jumped off that thing at EGN too.
Dude, that was terrifying.
That was crazy. that was nuts, man. We've done, I guess, a couple runs together with Freeze and Crybaby. I mean, we've played a lot of shows together, but then we also did like a winter run that one time. And I was thinking
so fun. Yeah, I think we've done two, but it's hard for me to remember that stuff.
And yeah, me too. I keep it on like a spreadsheet but I can never remember it. We also were going to be playing a a bunch of shows together at South by, which is the biggest shame to think. It's hard to even think about or talk about. That was going to be so epic.
Dude, that was going to be so fun.
It really was. It's hard to think about, man.
I know. I was so excited. Like, bro, I like dropped out of school in spring of 2020, which worked out well because of the pandemic and everything. And I wouldn't be able, like, online school would be like really rough for me. Right. So I didn't have to do too much of that. But it was like, you know, the idea was that we would be like touring a lot and stuff. And so that was part of my decision to do that. But yeah, I mean, and then, so I like am dropping out, going to go to South by, it's going to be amazing. And then it's just like, no, for a year, you're going to be home for most of the time. And
yeah, gosh. Yeah, right. It worked out, but in like a completely different way. Do you remember that? Do you remember the Naked Brothers band?
Dude, hell yeah.
Dude, they're like their movie that like launched their whole like before they had like the TV show. I remember they like dropped out of school 2 weeks early to like go on tour. Yes. That was like my dream. I was like, man, one day I was like in elementary school. I was like, one day I'm gonna drop out and do music. And I dropped out of college too, just to tour. So I fulfilled my dream.
Dude, what were you studying?
I was studying just like, it was called contemporary music. They've now renamed it commercial music, but yeah, it's just like
commercial music.
Yeah, right. It was
you're gonna write jingles for like
for commercials
or I
don't know why they call it. That's what they call it at Belmont too. It's like it was just a big catch-all. Like I studied like literally like performance and theory, songwriting, production, business. It was like I was taking like basically intro to like every part of music industry, which actually is kind of a good thing to take. Like I learned a little bit of everything, and then I wound up dropping out at once. I dropped out. I still had some music courses left to take, but really what I had left was like all these gen ed, like math and science and like PE, like all these like classes. I was just like, man, screw this. Why am I about to like be a senior in college and be like going to high school instead of touring? Dude. So I just dropped out.
It's like I really have to take Spanish again. Like,
yeah, right,
dude. I remember I had one more Spanish class left, and I was like, I don't think I can do another one. Like, that's so rough. Like, right. It's so hard for me. Like, I'm just bullshitting my way through that class.
Totally. Most of college was me faking my way through it. I feel like I didn't learn some of the music classes. I learned some, but yeah, it was a lot of mainly just there for the community. And when I felt like I could have met more people, but Lipscomb's pretty small too. The school that like Grant and I went to. It's kind of like I'd been there long enough and I was ready to move on. I'm still glad I did it, but I don't know, like, because I don't really know what the advantage would have been to me staying. And I think I wouldn't want to look back at this is just me personally, but if I right now had a degree, I'd be like mad at myself for it. I'd be like, man, I never do anything. I just like always stay doing what I'm supposed to do. Like you know what I mean? I would almost be more mad at myself if because like dropping out was the really hard thing. It's like really scary.
Right.
It's like, and like culturally, I mean, everyone knows this, but especially just around here and in my family and stuff, just culturally, it's like very much expected that you get a degree,
Yeah.
So it's hard to like go to Thanksgiving, and be like, yeah, I dropped out. I feel like it's like, like I'm doing that because I want to work harder, not because I'm like lazy, but I can see why people would think that I'm lazy, and that just is annoying.
No, you're like one of the least lazy people I've ever met.
Thank you, man. I feel more lazy these days than ever before. I'm like so slow now. I can't do.
Dude, you need the rest. You've been you need to just like lock yourself inside for a whole nother year. I feel like
it's like hibernation or something.
Yes, because you've just been constantly on like a level 10 for forever. So
dude, but I feel like the tours give me energy, and when I'm home I'm like spiraling.
No, I'm totally the same way. Like I get like, being cooped inside, like it is so rough. It's also hard because I feel like I get inspired to do creative stuff, because like usually when I'm more busy,
right,
or when I'm having more life experience, when I'm on tour, when I'm doing all this stuff, like, or seeing live music, like, yeah, all of that culminates in, you know, makes people more creative, I feel like. And just being inside, and it's like, I've had such a hard time writing songs during this time, because like it's so heavy in the world. Like,
right.
I mean, all this summer, it was just like, how would I possibly write a song to like meet the moment that we're in, you know? And like, I feel like anything I do that tries to like address anything in the world that's going on is just either going to like not at all get there, or it's just going to be like too on the nose. And then if I'm ignoring it in my music, that feels wrong. And
totally,
you know, like,
yeah,
dude, that's what's so hard. Yeah,
totally. If you like it, I struggle with that even with like Instagram and stuff. Like, I know I'm supposed to use my platform. Like, people have really like been putting pressure on people, especially during like Black Lives Matter, like when the protests were like pretty heavy, and it was like I wanted to like post more, but then I also was like, man, I don't want to seem like I'm just like, you know, doing this to. It felt like I was just being like a poser if I did that. So it's like, it's hard. Like, and yeah, like with music too, it's like addressing certain things. If you're too like blatant, it's like, am I just like, does it seem like I'm like cashing in on it? It's like, oh yeah, I believe in this too. Yeah. Like, check out my song about it. It's like, but it's really hard to like.
And I don't know how to write a political song that isn't just like straight up like a folk song. Like,
right. Totally.
Like,
totally.
I feel like I'm just gonna be like Pete Seeger or something. Like,
yeah, like Woody Guthrie or Pete
yes,
Seeger. Yeah.
Straight up.
Dude, for real.
But I feel like one day I probably just will do that.
That would be cool, dude.
Yeah.
Do you ever listen to Parquet Courts?
Yeah, a little bit.
Their newest album is like weirdly political without being just like blatantly political. Yeah. Like they address some really heavy stuff that is somewhat beyond me on it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, that's inspiring. I find it's really hard to be political in music unless you're just super like on the nose, like actually in a song, like to address political issues. Like, I feel like it isn't pulled off well usually.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Just like, yeah, something about it sometimes feels just like phony, or like, especially if it's just like kind of straightforward, like just kind of regurgitating like liberalism to your followers. Like, it's just like, okay, yeah, you're just saying what everyone says. Like, I get it. Like,
yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
There's definitely like, also, it's just, even though I feel really strongly about my convictions and their political convictions, and they also affect real people and their lives. Totally. And so it's like, it's not just politics, but at the same time, like, there are certain phrases or ideas that are so polarized, even though they are like a human thing, like healthcare or something, like but still, like, I have friends who like voted for Trump. Like, I like, you know what I mean? Like, I have people in my world, you know, because I grew up here. So it's like, I have friends who are been friends with since I was young, or like I know from like this church or school or whatever. And so it's like, sometimes I'm like, if you address something too on the nose, it's like, people won't actually hear you out. They're just like, oh, you stand with that, I'm against that. But if you're like able to be a little bit more nuanced and like just explain things to people and come at them at a direction that they can't expect or anticipate, then they're more willing to like hear you out. You know what I mean? So I struggle with that too.
Yeah. I loved seeing all your comments on Bernie's Instagram throughout the primaries. That always made me so happy. Like, I didn't know like where you stood politically at all. Like,
right.
And because we never had a conversation about it, but seeing all that like just made me so happy. I'm like, yes, freezes a Bernie, bro. Thank God.
Dude, thank you, man. Yeah, I still am, but I was really, really into Bernie's campaign, and we were like on tour during like when those first primaries were happening, when he was like winning, before he got the whole
when he won swept. Nevada though,
dude, that was epic. And he won, dude. Gosh. And I feel like I'm like a QAnon, like I'm just like saying like random, but like I genuinely think that there is a lot of factual evidence that he won in Iowa as well. Like,
he won Iowa. It was
so shady. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, it all gets paused, and then they're like, oh, Pete is declaring he's a winner. And it was like, I remember just being a Bernie supporter, just being like, is this actually happening right now? Like what is like, and then it turns out the Shadow like app like was like funded by like Pete people or whatever. It was just the shadiest thing ever. We were just like all on tour being like, this is the most like ridiculous thing. And then we got to meet him because we were playing in Colombia. And like not meet him. We shook his hand though because we were playing in Colombia.
That's awesome.
At a White Mule, and then he came to speak the next day, like literally like a couple blocks over. And we just stayed and went to the rally. And it was like, that's great. It's crazy to think that was in 2020. I was on tour at a Bernie Sanders rally for his presidential run, like less than a year ago. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's the whole part of it too. Like right before. I mean, when did he drop out? Like in March? Like, wasn't it? It was
Super Tuesday was the day he got totally destroyed. So
you have to look up. Oh, and to be in South Carolina, and it's like our state is what killed this. Like,
right.
And like, cause it was really like after South Carolina and then after Super Tuesday that they just like, everyone kind of coalesced around Biden. Like, totally so upsetting. It's just like, damn, look at did you know that I did a benefit show to raise money for the Sanders campaign?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, dude.
That's cool.
We had Apricot Blush play. Damn, who else played? Black Nicholson.
Cool.
Yeah, it was super fun. We raised like $1,000 for the Bernie campaign. But
no way, dude.
Dude, it was so sad. Like I was so literally like I can't believe that people literally just don't think that like our government can just give people health care like that. And right. Why do you not want that? Like why would you not want your tax dollars going to like help people and like save
totally.
Like I don't know.
I totally agree.
So upsetting, man.
Actually, just a couple nights ago, it was like after Biden was sworn in, something came up about like, and my mom was talking about something, and she's not really into Bernie at all. And so my sister and I were like, sit down and watch just like a few minutes of this, because my parents think that Bernie is just like crazy, and they just, because when you watch like Fox News or whatever, like all they do is, I mean, I've seen the clips, like they just show him and he looks like a monster. He looks
he's
mad,
like red in the face.
Yeah, and he's like, they just think he's like this dictator, and he's just, and like so I encourage them, and I'm trying to encourage people who don't really get what he's about to watch his conversation with Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan represents just like common man, and that hour-long interview, Bernie's just very chilled out, and he's just explaining things as straightforward as he can, and it's like I'm like, dude, I don't understand how anyone can watch this and not think that he's like cracked the code. It's just so cool.
Yeah, it's really upsetting. I feel like so many people just, I don't know, just put up with the way like our government is ran and I don't know, both sides are just like usually not meeting the mark of like right. What a government should be doing for its people. And I feel like nobody sees that. It's really
totally, dude.
Upsetting.
It is very upsetting. Do you think, do you have anyone that you think is going to run in like 2024 that you're like already thinking about? Like, or is there do you think that the Progressive Party is going to unify around anyone in particular?
Oh, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I guess AOC would be old enough, right?
I think so. That would be interesting. Although people,
dude, that'd be so
conservatives
hard.
Like
it's gonna be so hard, yeah.
But they hate her like they hated Bernie, but they might hate her even more because she's like a young, like woman. I don't know what her ethnicity is, but not white. And, and they just like she's like their punching bag on like Fox.
Yeah, totally.
Have you ever heard of Marianne Williamson?
Dude, I love her. She's great.
Cool. Yeah. So I got into politics after she dropped out. Like I was pretty much anti-political.
I got you.
Until I started watching the Democratic debate. So it was like the very beginning of 2020.
Wow. So like 2020 like turned you political.
It did. I literally watched a Democratic debate, and there was like everyone. I didn't know anything about any of them. I'd heard of Bernie, but I watched it. I watched like Warren and Klobuchar and Buttigieg and Biden and all these people. And
you're just like, how can you guys not see that
yeah
this guy is great.
Totally it made blatant sense after watching it. And I didn't even know anything about any policies or anything. He just seemed the most righteous. And then I just kept doing my research, guys. Like, I watched all the debates and was still pretty open. I was like, yeah, I don't really know. And then like just more and more got involved and was like, man, I believe in this. I believe in what he's talking about. But I missed Marianne Williamson. She'd already dropped out, I guess, by the beginning of 2020, or wasn't on the debate stage or whatever. And but I just watched like a really long podcast with her the other day, and I was like, dude, this person is so cool.
She's great. Do you know Cornel West?
He's like a speaker, or like maybe a preacher.
Yeah. He's
yes. Dr. Cornel West. Yeah.
Yes. He's like a Christian guy who's also like a socialist and was like part of the Bernie campaign. But I think the reason I thought of him is because Marianne Williamson is like kind of like brings spiritualism into politics. And
right.
And so does he. And I'm not a very religious person anymore, but I think that just like some notion of like, I don't know, the unknown or like spiritual thought in politics can be so powerful. And just thinking about like, and thinking about it not as politics, but as like love and caring for your neighbor, and these kind of agreed upon moral values of like how we should care about people. And like when you apply that to politics, the answer seems pretty clear a lot of the times. And
totally.
I feel like people don't use that kind of logic, and I think it's really helpful. And that's why I like Marianne a lot, and Cornel West. But
right, totally. Yeah. And Marianne's like more of like a universal spiritual
totally
too. So it's like it's not even like aligned with anything specifically, but yeah, she approaches it like in this with this spiritual side. Actually, that guy, one of the two guys who just won in the Democratic Party in Georgia on those like Senate runoffs is a preacher as well. And I saw like some of he was like preaching about like Medicare for all, from the pulpit. And he was just, because he was just like, do we not, like, as a nation, he's like, there's some things that we like have to promise each other, and like taking care of somebody is like what we stand for as believers. I was like, man, I totally back that. Like, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
You think that like, which is just, I mean,
and I'm not even like, I literally don't even believe the same thing that he's talking about, but it's right. Like, there's something at what he's saying that I feel like people can feel, and totally. Maybe it isn't universal, and maybe I'm naive to think that, but it feels like, at least to me, when I hear someone talk about certain things like that, when it is like positioned towards like love for people and like equality and like caring for someone no matter what, like who they are, what they've done, all right. Just
totally.
I mean, that is a political message, but it is also like the message of like Jesus, or the message of, all these other religions. And there's this like unifying factor that we can obviously see that like the world and our government like goes against that. And
right.
It makes, I feel like it makes framing it that way really helps. And I think can connect to more people. I mean, that's how especially like to conservatives or Christian people on the right, like I feel like when you talk to them in that way, it's hard to deny like what you're getting at. When
right.
It's just like, and obviously they have, it's politics, so they have their responses of like, I want to give on my own free will. I don't want the government to take from me or whatever. It's right. I understand, but I have a more universal vision for society in which like, we could actually treat each other as equals, like without this power and, hierarchy and
right. Yeah. If we're going to exist as a country together and like agree to like this like political system, like what even is politics? But like the scene where like, hey, we're all going to like create these things. Like we'll have like a police force and like a fire department, and we'll pay taxes and they'll help do these things. It's like, why would like taking care of somebody if they have like cancer not be like a part of that?
Number one on the list. Like, it's like, really? It's crazy to me that like our country's like, okay, yeah, like we're in a pandemic, we're going to give the majority of money to like the biggest corporations in our country. And the same thing with like 2008 crash.
Yeah.
Like the people who caused this are the ones who are getting paid off. And it's like, it's just like, oh yeah, we'll just let unemployment numbers go through the roof, like homelessness go up, like, and you know, we're not going to do anything about it. It's and what, like me as an individual, like what can I do? Like people, and this is when I get upset with, you know, more Democrat leaning people or liberals or whatever, because they're a lot of times people's only answer is just like, you know, you just have to vote. And it's like, yeah, I did that. And
right.
And, you know, we had 4 years of Trump, and then, you know, hopefully Biden is great, but I don't have that much faith.
Right.
And what can I do to make sure that he is? I don't know. You know, it's really hard to, I don't actually have like political power in the way that he does. And
right.
I didn't vote for the guy in the primary. So I don't know. It's, you
yeah,
know?
right. Exactly. Totally, dude. I
now
wonder.
We're really talking about politics.
I know we got deep into it. I'll say one more thing. So
okay.
nobody's mentioned this before, so I'm totally going out on a limb here. But
okay,
obviously you've always had the 2-party system. Anytime there's tried to be like a third one, it is always you know, it's just they can't gain enough power because it's like, oh, if you support that, you're going to take away from this one, which makes the one you disagree with. You know, it's like impossible. But there's been all these rumors that like Trump is going to start like a third party.
Yeah, Patriot Party.
Yeah, the Patriot Party. But there's also the whole like the People's Party, I think is what it's called, like the very progressive party that I've been slowly learning more about. And I'm like, man, I wish that like, I don't know, like maybe this is a terrible idea, but if just both Democratic and Republican parties just like split in two, and there was like a progressive party, People's Party, a Democratic Party, Republican Party, and then the crazy Trump Party. Like, I don't know, like then we could be more like other countries and have like all types of ideas, and that would be interesting. And then Bernie would win. Bernie would come back and run as like a 76-year-old man and be our president.
Dude, one of my favorite Bernie policies that people don't really talk about is that, you know, he was the only candidate who wanted like prisoners and felons to be able to vote, and like basically like extend voting rights to basically all citizens, like
right.
And I feel like that should be like kind of first on priority in terms of like progressive values or like progressive issues to push for, because like I don't know, I feel like the closer you get towards like a true democracy, like the more things are going to work well for everybody. And
right.
Even, you know, like because everyone's voice is getting heard. But yeah, I mean, even the idea of like representative democracy like we have is like just upsets me a little bit, because it's just like all these people have all this power and I only get to vote for like a couple of them. And like, you know, I don't know. It's so true, dude. And I don't have any power, you know?
Right. So many people are just appointed. Yeah. Like, if we like gave prisoners, and then we did like ranked choice, and then also we just like had an app on our phones, which now with all the people believing in voter fraud, I guess this could never happen. But like everyone should be, voting should be so much easier. Like if people could just be, like place their vote, like if everybody could just do it from their phone, imagine how many people would vote. You would have because so many people just don't do it. Like it would flip everything. There could be a whole different landscape if just like certain things, policies could be changed, and you know, we could figure out better ways to get people voting. Hopefully that'll happen, man. Hopefully that'll happen.
Dude, I hope so. I really hope so. I want to figure out more ways to get more involved in like local politics and making a difference in that way, because it is something that is super important to me, and like is definitely like a driving force in the way I live my life and kind of orient myself to the world. It's like thinking about not necessarily politics, but like we said, like, you know, caring for everyone and like wanting a better world for people who don't have a great world right now.
Right.
You know,
that's what's so attractive about it. It's like you could, if I think about like wanting to do something good, I'm like, I could start a nonprofit or like do this or that. But then I'm also like, what if I just like helped pass a political policy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those things are so powerful. Like giving everybody $600, you know, brings people out of poverty. You know, it's just like, there are simple things that are like but that are political, but it's like, these are ways we could really help people. So that's what exactly, that's what draws me into it. It's like, how you can make real change.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because it's like most of these issues that we're talking about, it's not like personal failure or anything like that. Like they're systemic issues. And so like, I can't fix someone's homelessness, and I can't like, as an individual do this, but like if we as a collective agree to do it, then we can do it. And like, I don't know. I like and that's why I think where a lot of the reasoning of conservatives tends to fall apart is because they tend to emphasize this individualistic logic of like, I help the homeless. And so, it's not on me. Like, why would you make me pay more? And it's like, well, not everyone is doing what you're doing. Like, I'm glad that you are, but it's a systemic issue. So we have to fix it systemically. Like,
totally.
And it like has its root in the very people who have the power, like are creating this society to be like this. Like, it doesn't have to be like it.
Yeah, totally. That is one of the things that's like pretty blatantly like not addressed. It's just like that whole idea of like, pulling yourself up, like the bootstraps people always talk about, that whole idea. Like, it's pretty easy to just be like, there's no way that's true. Like, there's no way the people who have less money are all just like lazier. It's just, so we just, how could people, I don't know. It seems so blatantly not true. But to put it on a good note, it's like, once you awaken that in people in a way like Bernie has, and like how young people have become so radicalized, and with this revolution, like, everything that's happened last year, it's like, you can go back to sleep in some ways. People can maybe like lose some of that, but I just think the media landscape and the way that young people are so excited about politics and stuff, there is a lot of hope in that. And hopefully we can see real change happening, throughout our lives. It gives me hope.
Yeah, man. I hope so. We definitely need it quick. We do.
We
need to do some big stuff.
I appreciate you getting into the politics with me, and also just talking to me, man. We've reached the end of our hour block or over. We've gone over, but
it's been great.
Who cares? Hope you don't mind. Thanks for taking time out of your
no worries, dude.
Your Friday night to speak with me, man.
I'm glad we got to talk. We haven't really ever like had a one-on-one conversation this long, or
That's true. Most of the time that we talk, we're like, in like a green room, we're like getting ready to hop on stage or something. It's more like brief, so it is good.
Hey, but we feel so close because we've had that collective experience of music together.
That's true. That's exactly true. I feel
that really builds something in you.
It really does, dude. It really does unify you. I feel that way about you and about all of Crybaby. Like, I feel very close to y'all, for real.
Yeah.
I hope we get to have more experiences together, as soon as possible, man.
Me too.
Until then, everybody listening, keep in touch over the internet, and listen to Kid Lake.
Yeah.
And what else should we plug? Yeah, you can follow Kid Lake Band on Instagram. Anyone listening who is new to Carter's project, and you can also follow Crybaby Empire on Instagram. Anything else we should plug? Anything else you want to plug?
Oh man, Jamie Gray.
Yeah, yes, of course, Jamie Gray. New music coming out soon for Jamie, and you just put out Now I Can't Remember 2 weeks ago. So
yes,
give the new song some love.
It, in a way, is a sort of political song, I will say. So
I'll have to listen to it with that in mind.
In the way that we were talking about politics, I think it fits in that. But yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
I appreciate you taking time out of your Friday.
Yeah, bro, this is great. Thanks so much for doing it. This is so cool. Like I've listened to a bunch of these, and it's been really nice.
No way, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
that means a lot. It's been a good way to like catch up, and like you said, like even get to talk have a good long conversation with someone like you that I've seen a lot and want to talk to more. So it's really good for me. Yeah. Until next time, man.
Much love.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You too.
Peace.